Welcome to Spencer Farms. Josie and I started farming, milking cows in 1986 on a small farm in Newark Valley. And we started out with 13 cows, and then we kind of outgrew that place and moved over to this place and started here in around 1998. We've been milking cows for 36 years together, and we used to have registered Holsteins, but most of them aren't registered anymore. We have a few beef animals. We crop about 400 acres divided between hay and corn silage.
We bring the cows in from the other barn that are out there in the summer and half of them in the winter. In what we call the new barn, 6-row freestall. We bring them up into another barn and we kind of hold them there for just a few minutes while we swap out the other cows that are being milked. We bring them into the tie stall barn where we milk them. We take a pre-dip solution. It's a sanitize. We clean their teat ends. We use paper towels to clean them off also. Make sure their teat ends are sterile. We pre-strip them. Then we take the milker, we hang it on the pipeline. We hook in the suction hose into the stainless steel pipeline, which the milk gets carried into. Then we hook in the pulsators, which then give the teats a gentle squeeze to extract the milk. The milker might stay on for 5 to 7 minutes, depending on how long their lactation is. They average about maybe 9 to 10 gallons a day. We know when they're done. Then we take it off, shut the vacuum off, and then we take the post-dip, which we put on the teats, and it helps seal it to keep any bacteria and anything out of their teat ends. The milk gets carried through the pipeline. It's got a gentle slope through the barn to bring it down into the milk house. Comes into the milk house, goes into a receiver jar where it's collected. Then another pump pumps it through a filter to make sure there's any impurities out of the milk. And then it pumps it through that and then up into a plate cooler. That plate cooler is a heat exchanger. It pumps well water through it, about 50 degrees, and milk coming out of the cow is about 100 degrees. And then what that does is it helps bring the milk temperature down before it goes into the bulk tank. And the bulk tank will continue to cool the milk down to about 38-40 degrees.
My morning chores consist of scraping manure out of the barns and feeding the cows. We scrape the manure with a Bobcat skid steer with a rubber tire scraper on the front, and we push that into the manure storage to later spread on fields. I also mix the feed for the cows in the mornings, which consists of a grain mix and snaplage, which is high moisture corn, a mixture of haylage and corn silage. We bring the mixer over to our bunk silos and put in the ingredients, and that mixer mixes it all up, and we bring it back to the barn. We feed it off to the cows.
Coventry Transport comes every other day to pick up our milk, and then it's hauled to either Leprino's in Waverly or Chobani in West Edmonston. Pretty much that's the major milk markets. It goes to other places. The other places are pretty much called balancing plants. When Chobani and Leprino are full of milk, then they have to take it other places.
Okay, on this cow that calved the other day, she is a fresh cow, which means she just had a baby. So we keep the milk separate and doesn't go into the tank until I test it on a milk tester, a double P test kit, to make sure the antibiotics are all out of it. So we keep it separate in a milk pail. So the vacuum will, instead of taking it into the line, it'll drop it into the bucket and will never make it into the tank. She has red bands on her, indicating that she is a treated cow and it is not to go into the tank. We do sometimes have green bands on in the wintertime on cows that we have in here that are getting ready to be due, and they're also not to be milked until they get the red band on them and after they've had their baby. This milk here from this fresh cow, I go take it and feed it to her own baby. That way she gets her colostrum milk and helps her get her antibiotics and get it off to a good start. We try to get at least 3 quarts into them, so that way we know that they're getting what they need.